Good afternoon, Jamaica. Welcome to Sports Unwrapped, Gleaner online weekly sports review. Of course, this week we're talking more cricket. Lots of things going on with the Jamaica Cricket Association. And of course, Manning Cup football. The finals are this weekend. Waterford takes on Jamaica College. We'll talk more about those two things after we come back, after this break.
Just bet. It's time to get in the game and win big money and all the sports you love. Football, basketball, or cricket, NFL, or track and field. And more. If you watch it, you can probably bet on it. So pick your matches, place your bets, and win some money for real. The more matches you bet on, the bigger the winnings. It's easy. Get in on the money at Supreme Venture Sports Betting Vendors Island-wide. Just bet. Your game, your passion. You must be 18 and over to play.
Welcome back to Sports Unwrapped. This week, in fact yesterday, the Jamaica Cricket Association held a press conference to clear the air on an erroneous email that was sent out last week by Kerith Melbrook, one of the accountants there at the Jamaica Cricket Association, where it made some very spurious allegations about the JCA being broke, all kinds of different issues that brought a firestorm of controversy surrounding a lot of changes that are coming in the JCA, including the firing of Junior Bennett as national coach and the bringing in of Gus Logie to replace him. Gus Logie arrives in the island this weekend to start looking about taking over from Junior Bennett early next year. Joining us right now to talk about that is Jermaine Landerman, who writes cricket, a lot of cricket reporting for the Gleaner here at North Street. And we're talking cricket. Andre, at the press conference yesterday, where the JCA sought to clear up the situation with Kerith Melbrook's email that was leaked to the public, there are still some unanswered questions. First of all, given that this email was circulated to members of the board and it got out into the public, whoever it was leaked is not even an issue here. The language used in the email would have suggested that there are many things amiss with the JCAs. What was the sense of the JCA's executive who spoke at the press conference yesterday? What is their take on what happened, and why is Melbrook still there?
That's a question in all fairness that they'll have the answer, and one doesn't know that if it's a process before if and when they have to take any action. However, I mean, it's pretty much what you have outlined before regarding that. Melbrook, I understand, in the meeting that took place, emergency meeting on Tuesday, toned down the language as it relates, but it leaves a lot of unanswered questions as to whether or not, I mean, is there any truth behind what was said, and or was it intentional, and likely, I mean, if not, was it incompetence on his part? Because as a senior, as the chief financial officer per se, there advising your financial committee members and wrongly is clearly, I mean, not something that ought to be done.
Yeah, because accounting language is very specific.
Mm-hmm.
So you say that a company is spending 7 years' money over 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help but believe what you hear. I mean, if you're spending, there's no other way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So it would suggest to me that he was either incompetent or, as you said, there was some mischief or malicious intent.
Mm-hmm.
That is a question that's still to be answered. But the JCA CEO, Robert Bryan, mentioned something also yesterday, which I'd like to talk to you about, is the fact that the JCA is spending more money than they're actually pulling in.
Right.
Did he mention anything about how they were planning to curtail this situation? Because at that rate, the JCA is going to be broke pretty soon.
He didn't, but my understanding, speaking to persons in the inner circle, is that, I mean, the JCA has reasons to be optimistic, as there are, I mean, a number of corporate companies. Since Robert has come on, and that is within the last month or two, he has been able to generate support, and it is felt that their competitions coming up could have sponsors as opposed to previous time, which means that money would come in to run those coffers, mm-hmm. and that their income stream would be going up north rather than going down. But worst case scenario, if money doesn't come through, as I was talking to another director, I mean, it could be that competitions could be scaled down or whatever, but some major stuff need to be. But as the JCA is pointing out and has pointed out, it's the recession too that is affecting their ability to raise. But they're optimistic that this new CEO, Robert Bryan, is able to change the course.
Of course, the West Indies would have had cricket board that had problems because if you remember in May there was a test match that they lost money. They had spent a lot of money to prepare for that test match. That didn't happen because of the Tivoli riots, and of course the weather affected some of the other competitions this year. When we come back, we're going to talk Manning Cup action. Will JC be able to beat Waterford the third time trying this season? We'll find out from Ryan Jones when we come back after the break.
Just bet. It's time to get in the game and win big money and all the sports you love. Football, basketball, or cricket, NFL, or track and field. And more. If you watch it, you can probably bet on it. So pick your matches, place your bets, and win some money for real. The more matches you bet on, the bigger the winnings. It's easy. Get in on the money at Supreme Venture Sports Betting Vendors Island wide. Just bet. Your game, your passion. You must be 18 and over to play. Just bet.
Welcome back to Sports Unwrapped, of course, Gleaner Online's weekly sports review. We have with us Ryan Jones, who's going to be at the Manning Cup final on the weekend with Jamaica College taking on Waterford. Now, twice they played this season. Waterford and Jamaica College drew 1-1. The second time, Waterford beat JC to win the group and actually went on to win their interzone group again, and of course going through to the final eventually. Ryan, welcome to Sports Unwrapped. Give me your sense of the matchup on the weekend between the two top teams in schoolboy football in Kingston.
Well, for starters, you made mention of the two previous meetings. The first of which was played at JC, where it ended in a 1-1 draw. JC created numerous opportunities and should have came away comfortable winners in that game, but they didn't obviously take their chances, and down to a late goal from Waterford, they were able to salvage a draw from that game. The second game was basically just of academic interest. Waterford wanted to top the group. JC didn't have much to lose, having already qualified for the Walker Cup. So therefore, you cannot put too much on those two games and just put them as games in the past that have gone. As it relates to the upcoming fixture and the finals on Saturday, it is expected to be a keenly contested affair. This is between two teams who have had good defensive records. JC having scored over 50 goals, it could be easily seen as an offensive team. A lot of persons pay a lot of attention to this. Yes, they are the most attacking team in the competition, having scored the most goals, but at the same time, they have only given up 6 goals in the Manning Cup, none in the Walker Cup to date. While Waterford, on the other hand, have an even better defensive record, having given up only 4 goals. So therefore, you expect it to be a battle in the midfield, a battle to see who can get that all-important goal, because we could go down to just 1 goal that decides this fixture. JC have the threat and the potency of Shani Walker, who has been very prolific this season, and I know that the Waterford coaches, I know for a fact that they will be paying keen attention to him. But at the same time, they do have other players who can hurt you. They have one Scott, who has done his fair bit in terms of scoring, but at the same time, although Asani having amassed a lot of goals in the first round, since the second round, JC has actually had 4 different scorers, so therefore they have to pay attention to all of the JC players as the goal could come from anywhere.
Let me just interrupt here 1 second. There are 2 storylines coming into this final. Of course, Alfred Henry comes back after a year of suspension, and Waterford have the tragic story of the loss of O'Keefe Lewis, who was killed last week Tuesday. How much of an impact do you think either story will have on the teams, with Alfred Henry wanting to prove something coming back from suspension, and of course will Lewis's death provide impetus for Waterford in the final?
All right, these 2 incidents, they're both going to have an effect on both teams, obviously. But the thing is that they will be of different magnitudes. I think with the Alfred Henry thing, yes, he's back, yes, he's out to prove a point, and prove a point through the team winning the competition. But at the same time, he's present, he's there with them. Where O'Keefe is concerned, he's no longer with the team, therefore more emotion is involved. Therefore, they're using it as a driving force to push them along, to do it for a fallen colleague. So therefore, I think Waterford would probably have more impetus and probably take it on themselves more to go out and do it for O'Keefe than say a JC for an Alfred Henry. And at the same time, there's also another storyline to this whole thing, where 2 of JC players were red carded in the semi-finals. One of which Greenwood is one of their key players. He's a strong man in midfield. He's the one that breaks up a lot of the opposition's attack, and I think that they will suffer at his loss. They might replace him, but he would definitely not be a player of the same quality as he had started most of the games throughout the season. The other player was a substitute, and he's a centre forward. A centre forward role doesn't really and truly change. You just bring in somebody else. Might be of less quality, but still yet he would just play the same role. So I think that will hurt JC. But at the end of the day, I think that with the experience in the JC squad and the various different makers that they have, that they might get the edge at the end of the day. McFarlane going to have to come up big for Waterford again. He's their go-to guy. He's the man who can make the difference, and he will have to come up big for them. And if he does shine with the support of his cast, then you never can tell. But right now, I would give the edge to Jamaica College.
And there you heard it first. The man himself, the man who covers the Manning Cup thoroughly from crevice to corner. JC has the edge on Saturday. Personally, I'm going with Waterford. I like the story about the death in the family and the motivation that will bring. But we'll see come Saturday. Manning Cup finals, JC versus Waterford. Going to be a humdinger of a match. Thanks much. After the break, we come back with our sports fact of the week.
Just bet. It's time to get in the game and win big money and all the sports you love. Football, basketball, or cricket, NFL, or track and field. And more. If you watch it, you can probably bet. And so pick your matches, place your bets, and win some money for real. The more matches you bet, and the bigger the winnings. It's easy. Get your money at Supreme Venture Sports Betting Vendors Island-wide. Just bet. Your game, your passion. You must be 18 and over to play. Just bet.
Welcome back to Sports Unwrapped. Of course, you can send us your emails at sportsunwrapped@gleanerjm.com, and you can catch my blogs on gleanerblogs.com. And that wraps it up for this week, but of course we couldn't let you go without giving you the sports fact of the week. The interesting sports fact this week is, JC plays Waterford in the Manning Cup final on the weekend. JC has been to the Manning Cup finals numerous times, winning 20 titles. This is Waterford's first Manning Cup final. That's the sports fact for this week. Until next week, this is Leighton Levy saying goodbye and be a good sport.